Have you ever walked into a room and caught an unfamiliar scent, only to realize it's coming from someone who appears freshly bathed? Did you know that even with daily showers, many older adults still struggle with body odor, and they don't even realize it? What if the secret to staying fresh as you age has more to do with overlooked habits than with hygiene itself? As we age, our bodies go through subtle but powerful changes. Hormones shift, skin becomes thinner, and our sense of smell begins to dull, often without us even noticing. This means that older adults, even those with the best intentions and routines, can unknowingly develop body odor that lingers, despite feeling clean. It's not about neglect or laziness. It's about how little attention is paid to the specific hygiene needs of an aging body. Most people simply don't talk about this, and the truth is, you could be showering daily, brushing your teeth, and doing everything right, but still carrying an odor that others quietly notice. Why? Because certain areas and habits tend to be overlooked. In today's video, we're going to explore 5 of the most common hygiene mistakes older people make, mistakes that often lead to body odor and discomfort. More importantly, we'll talk about how to fix them in simple, practical ways. We'll take a closer look at where that smell actually comes from, what causes it to build up, and how small but strategic changes can make all the difference. Stick with us until the end, because this isn't just about surface-level cleanliness. We're going to dig deeper into the things no one really teaches you, but that truly matter as you get older. Some of the tips may surprise you. Others may seem obvious, but perhaps you've let them slide without realizing it. And here's the best part. Each of these adjustments has helped countless older adults go from feeling uncertain and self-conscious to stepping out confidently, knowing they smell as good as they feel. Let's begin. Number 1. Wearing clothes and undergarments too long without changing. This is easily one of the most common hygiene mistakes among older adults, wearing the same clothes, especially undergarments, for too long. It might not seem serious, especially if you've been sitting at home, not sweating or being physically active. But the truth is, even without obvious activity, your body is still releasing natural oils, sweat, and microscopic skin cells. Over time, these materials settle into fabrics. Undergarments in particular sit close to the warmest, most moisture-prone parts of the body. That means odors can develop quietly, slowly building up without warning. And once that scent embeds in the fabric, it doesn't go away easily, even after a wash. As we age, sweat glands may become less active in some areas, but more concentrated in others. Combined with the body's natural changes in pH and hormone balance, this creates an environment where body odor becomes more noticeable and harder to manage if you're not changing clothes frequently enough. What feels like a harmless decision to stretch an extra day or two between outfit changes can actually contribute to a lingering odor that follows you around. But here's the good news. It's one of the easiest fixes on the list. By making a simple shift to fresh clothes and clean undergarments every single day, even if you're just at home, you're already giving your body the freshness it deserves. Even if you don't feel sweaty, your body is still at work beneath the surface. It naturally releases oils, sheds dead skin cells, and produces a light but steady amount of moisture, especially in warmer weather or when you're wearing multiple layers. Over time, these substances get trapped in clothing, particularly in areas where fabric hugs the body. And once they're absorbed, the breakdown process begins. That's when bacteria starts to grow, and with it comes the musty, stale odor often associated with what people quietly refer to as old people smell. Undergarments are usually the biggest culprits. Think about it. Underwear, bras, undershirts, they sit right against the skin in spots where heat, sweat, and oil naturally build up. If these items aren't changed daily and thoroughly laundered, they don't just soak up odors, they hold on to them. That scent becomes part of the fabric. And no matter how much perfume or body spray you use, nothing can fully mask what's already embedded in the clothing. Then there's the habit that many older adults fall into, re-wearing the same outfit for multiple days. Sometimes 2, even 3 days in a row. On the surface, it might seem harmless. The clothes may look clean, and you might feel clean, But if the fabric has already absorbed yesterday's body scent, especially if it wasn't aired out overnight, you're starting the next day at a disadvantage. You may not notice it, but others likely will. Evelyn, a 78-year-old woman I spoke with, shared her experience. She had a favorite house dress she wore for 3 days straight, mostly out of habit. "It didn't smell bad to me," she told me. But her daughter eventually pointed out that the scent in the house wasn't quite right. That moment, gentle as it was, made her reconsider how often she rotated her clothing. She made small adjustments, and it changed how she felt around others, more fresh, more assured, and a little more proud of how she presented herself. If the idea of changing outfits every single day feels overwhelming, try starting with just one step. Focus first on the garments that touch your skin directly. Keep a few pairs of fresh, breathable undergarments nearby, ready to go each morning. When it comes to outerwear, let it air out somewhere with good circulation before wearing it again. Don't toss it on a chair or tuck it under a blanket, where the moisture gets trapped and the fabric can't breathe. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being mindful. Once you become aware that much of your scent lives in your clothes, not necessarily your body, you can take simple, manageable steps to improve how you feel. And that awareness can lead to a surprisingly powerful shift in your confidence, your comfort, and the energy you bring into every room. Number 2, missing key areas like skin folds and hidden creases. One of the most overlooked hygiene mistakes. Not paying close attention to the areas that need it the most. We're talking about skin folds, hidden creases, and places where moisture tends to collect silently. These spots are easy to miss, yet they're the ones most likely to harbor odor-causing bacteria. As we get older, our bodies naturally change. Skin becomes looser, and folds may form under the breasts, around the belly, behind the knees, or in the groin area. These folds are warm, dark, and often moist. Ideal conditions for bacteria to multiply if not properly cleaned and dried. It's not about being unclean. It's just part of being human. But if those areas aren't washed thoroughly and dried completely each day, what begins as harmless sweat and skin oils can break down into something much more noticeable and much harder to ignore. Mobility challenges add another layer to this issue. For many seniors, reaching under the arms, behind the knees, or beneath the belly can become difficult. Stiff joints, arthritis, or shoulder pain can make even simple movements feel like a chore. So, even if someone rinses off daily, those key areas might remain untouched, damp, uncleansed, and slowly accumulating odor over time. But here's the truth. It's not just the washing that matters. Drying is just as important. If you quickly towel off and move on with your day, but skip gently drying between folds or under your arms, you're setting the stage for that same unpleasant scent to creep back in by the afternoon. Even a tiny amount of leftover moisture can make a big difference, and not in a good way. I once spoke with Harold, a 74-year-old gentleman who showered every morning but still noticed a musty smell by midday. At first, he thought it was his clothes, but during a routine visit, his doctor suggested something surprisingly simple. Spend a little extra time drying those tucked-away areas and use a separate towel specifically for that purpose. Harold admitted it felt a bit silly at first, but within 2 weeks, his wife noticed the improvement before he did. If this sounds familiar, here's a helpful approach. During your bath or shower, use a soft washcloth or sponge to gently clean those folds and creases. Don't rush. Take your time. Use a mild, fragrance-free soap, rinse well, and afterward, pat dry with a fresh, clean towel. For areas that tend to stay damp longer, consider applying a little cornstarch-based or skin-safe drying powder to help absorb lingering moisture. This small, thoughtful step won't just reduce odor, it can also prevent irritation, rashes, and fungal infections. But perhaps most importantly, it helps you feel clean, confident, and comfortable well into the rest of your day. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please drop a comment with the number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend you do. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you won't miss any of our upcoming content. Your support means a lot. It helps us continue creating valuable content that informs, empowers, and inspires. Now, let's move on to mistake number 3: reusing old or damp towels without realizing it. We all have that one towel we love. Maybe it's extra soft, maybe it's just always hanging right there when we need it. But here's something most people overlook. If that towel isn't drying properly between uses, or if it's used too many days in a row, it quietly becomes one of the biggest sources of body odor in your hygiene routine. Towels are designed to absorb moisture, but if they stay folded up in a humid bathroom or tossed onto a hook without air circulation, they don't fully dry. Instead, they begin to hold on to that moisture, and what comes next isn't just a musty smell, it's bacteria and mildew growing deep in the fibers. Now think about this. Each time you use that towel to dry your clean body, especially those sensitive areas we just talked about, you're actually reintroducing bacteria right back onto your skin. It might not look dirty. It might even smell fine at first, but that doesn't mean it's safe to keep using. This is especially common with bath towels, hand towels, and washcloths. For many older adults who might bathe less frequently or sweat less, it's easy to underestimate how quickly these items pick up odor and how long they retain it. Phyllis, who's 80, once told me she couldn't understand why. Even after showering, she still had a faint odor. She thought maybe it was her body changing, but after a little digging, it turned out she had been using the same towel for nearly a week without giving it time to fully dry between uses. When she started rotating her towels every 2 to 3 days and hanging them to dry in a spot with good airflow, that odor vanished, along with the discomfort. So, what can you do? First, pay attention to where and how your towels dry. A steamy, closed bathroom with no ventilation traps moisture, making it almost impossible for towels to dry fully. Instead, try hanging them near an open window, a fan, or anywhere with steady air circulation. And when it's time to wash them, skip the heavy fabric softeners and overly scented detergents. These products may smell pleasant at first, but they often leave behind a residue that traps moisture and encourages mildew. A simple, effective solution? Run your towels with a bit of white vinegar every few weeks. It helps break down that residue and keeps your towels truly clean and fresh. Buildup can happen faster than you think, and when towels aren't truly clean, they stop doing their job. Fresh, properly dried fabric helps cleanse your skin more effectively, leaving you not just drier, but genuinely fresher. This small habit, rotating your towels regularly and letting them dry completely, can make a surprising difference in how your entire body feels and smells. It's simple, it's often overlooked, but it works. Now, let's talk about something people rarely associate with body odor: neglecting denture and mouth hygiene. When we think about unpleasant smells, we often focus on the body. But the most immediate and noticeable source of odor? Your breath. And for older adults, especially those with dentures or partial plates, the mouth can become a hidden source of persistent odor if it's not properly cared for. You might be brushing your teeth every day and still miss the mark. That's because dentures, gums, and the tongue require attention too. If they're not cleaned thoroughly and consistently, the odor doesn't just stay in your mouth, it lingers around you. As we age, saliva production naturally decreases, and for many, medications can dry out the mouth even further. That dryness creates the perfect environment for bacteria to thrive, especially along the gum line, underneath dentures, and across the surface of the tongue. The result? A kind of stale, sour scent that's often unnoticeable to the person who has it, but quite clear to others nearby. And here's what doesn't get talked about enough. Dentures aren't a set-it-and-forget-it solution. They need daily removal, thorough brushing, and soaking in a disinfecting solution to kill bacteria hiding in those tiny cracks and surfaces. A quick rinse under the tap doesn't cut it. If dentures are worn all day and through the night without cleaning, they begin to develop something called a biofilm, a sticky layer of bacteria that not only causes bad breath, but can also lead to infections, gum irritation, and inflammation. Mary, 77, shared how she hadn't removed her top plate overnight in months. It seemed harmless until she began waking up with a bitter taste in her mouth. Her daughter gently asked if she had visited the dentist recently. That moment led Mary to change her routine. She started soaking her dentures each night and brushing her tongue as part of her evening hygiene. Within days, she described her mouth as feeling like a clean slate every morning. And the odor? Completely gone. If you still have natural teeth, don't skip brushing your tongue. That's where the majority of odor-causing bacteria live. And for those dealing with dry mouth, try using alcohol-free mouthwash and sip water throughout the day to stay hydrated. After all, your breath doesn't just reflect your oral health, it reflects how you care for yourself each day. When your mouth feels clean and fresh, it sends a powerful message, even before you say a single word. Others can sense that freshness, that energy, just by being near you. Even if you can't detect an odor yourself, those around you often can. That's why good breath isn't just about hygiene. It reflects how much care and presence you bring into the room. It communicates dignity, confidence, and attention to your well-being. And best of all, it's one of the quickest ways to feel renewed before stepping out the door. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content that informs and inspires. Now, let's move on to something that many people do without thinking, using perfume or powder to mask odor instead of dealing with the root cause. It's an easy mistake to fall into, and one that often goes unnoticed. When we catch an unpleasant scent on ourselves, our first instinct is to grab a bottle of perfume or a puff of body powder and try to cover it up. It feels like a quick and simple fix, but in reality, layering fragrance on top of odor doesn't solve the issue. It can actually make things worse. Perfume is meant to work with clean, freshly washed skin. When it's sprayed over sweat, bacteria, or leftover residue from clothing that hasn't been changed, the result is a clash of scents. Instead of smelling light and floral or clean and citrusy, the perfume mixes with those underlying odors and becomes sharp, musty, or even sour. And that's when people around you may notice something's off, even if they can't quite name it. Body powders can pose a similar problem. While a small amount of cornstarch-based powder in skin folds can help reduce moisture and chafing, using heavily scented powders all over the body as a substitute for bathing can lead to a strange blend of lingering smells. These odors cling to your skin, your clothes, and your towels, creating a musty or stale scent that builds up over time. It's often more noticeable than the original odor. This habit is especially common among older adults who may feel hesitant about bathing daily, whether due to arthritis, fatigue, or fear of falling. And it's completely understandable. But the solution isn't to cover up. It's to keep things simple. Gentle cleansing, fresh towels, clean undergarments, and lightweight breathable clothing go much further in keeping you truly fresh. A clean base doesn't need to be masked. It shines on its own. That doesn't mean you have to give up wearing perfume. You absolutely can, and should, if it's something you enjoy. A clean, subtle scent can be a beautiful part of your personal care routine. But here's the key. It should always come after your body is already clean, dry, and refreshed. Perfume isn't meant to hide something. It's meant to highlight what's already been cared for. Think of it as the final touch, not the base layer. Eleanor, who's now 81, shared a story that might sound familiar. She used to splash on rose-scented cologne every morning, almost out of habit. It had been her signature scent for years, but one day her granddaughter gently told her that her clothes had a faint musty smell, like something that had been hanging in a closet too long. That comment stuck with her, so Eleanor made a few small changes. She began keeping fragrance-free wipes by her bedside to freshen up before applying perfume. She also started washing her shawls and scarves more regularly. And the result? Her perfume finally smelled the way she remembered. Clean, soft, and elegant. It no longer mixed with the remnants of the previous day. It reflected the care she was putting into herself, and it showed. When people catch your scent, it should speak to who you are now, not cover up who you were yesterday. That level of freshness doesn't come from fancy products or overpowering sprays. It comes from simple, thoughtful habits and the willingness to focus on the cause, not just the cover-up. And the beautiful part? Once your body is truly clean and your clothes are fresh, you may find you don't even need much perfume at all. As we wrap up, take a quiet moment to think back on the 5 hygiene mistakes we've uncovered together. They're not about judgment. They're about self-awareness, care, and respect. These aren't just tips. They're small daily choices that shape how you feel, how others perceive you, and how confidently you move through the world. Which one of these habits stood out to you the most today? Was it the tendency to rewear clothes for too long? Or maybe the simple act of forgetting those hidden folds and creases during bathing? Whatever it was, just remember, these aren't small changes. They're powerful shifts that can completely transform how you feel each day. It's not only about how you smell, it's about how you carry yourself, how confident you feel when you step outside, and even how peacefully you rest at night. Hygiene, at its core, is more than a task to check off a list. It's a quiet, daily act of self-respect. When you wear fresh clothes, dry off with a clean towel, and speak with breath that feels fresh, it all adds up. These little moments of care build something greater, a sense of dignity, pride, and peace in your own skin. Even if they seem minor on their own, together, these habits create a foundation for feeling refreshed, recharged, and truly at ease in your body. You deserve that kind of comfort every single day. We'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments one insight that stuck with you today and how you plan to bring it into your routine. Your stories inspire not only us, but also everyone else in this community who's walking a similar path. If this video gave you something valuable, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Your support helps us continue crafting meaningful content that informs, uplifts, and supports seniors just like you. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we wish you good health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.